Hi, this is Jody Beck from Jody's Gems Quilting. Today I'm doing a machine applique demo, and this is just one of many methods, but it happens to be my favorite. What you're going to do is you're going to start out with your stack and slash blocks. You're going to take non-woven fusible interfacing with the bumpy side down and the smooth side up, and you're going to trace circles onto the fusible. And you can choose different sizes. These are all featured in my on a roll pattern, but you just use whatever design you're creating. Just trace it on the smooth side and leave room between your pieces where you can cut them apart, and you don't have to be particular. You're just going to chunk them out. And then you're going to take your circles in this particular pattern and you're going to fold them into quarters. You're going to nip that corner off right there, real tiny. Just cut that corner off, and you will see it is a hole in the middle. It helps you to center this, and it works really, really well. So you're going to center that hole over the center of the block, pin it into position, then you're going to stitch around it completely, stitching on the line at a 1.5 stitch length. So it's really small, just to make sure the stitches don't come out and to keep it into position, and it helps to go around the curve the smaller it is. After you have it completely stitched, you've overlapped your stitching, you're going to cut away all of this, leaving about quarter inch, eighth of an inch to a quarter inch all the way around your piece. These are just your scraps that you can use for other projects if you're really into keeping small pieces, or you can put them into pillowcases and small little pillowcases for cat beds and dog beds for the shelter. And what you're going to do then is you're going to take where that hole was and you're going to cut into it and just cut it up so far each direction. It allows you to get in here, and you're going to turn this right side out. Okay, after you have it turned right side out, you're going to take your purple thing. I love this thing. Absolutely love the purple thing. And you're going to take it and you're going to slip it through here, and you're just going to run it around the inside so that you can get that all smoothed out. A bodkin will also work. This just always seems to be handier because it's on my sewing table. Then you're going to just finger press it, make sure you get it out and all the edges out and it's nice and smooth. One of the things I thought might help to take some of the bulk out is to take the fusible and cut it away. So I did cut around it, again slipped it with the seam ripper just to get an opening, and then I cut around it. And when I did that, you can see it does not lay very well. It doesn't lay over. When I go to applique it on, I really have to, just mess with it more. And it was not a great idea. So you can do whatever you choose to do. I just recommend leaving it with the back of the fusible in there. After you have that done, you're going to take it over to your ironing board, and you're going to measure it and center it on your background fabric. So I just center it completely around, roughly an inch in on each side. Okay, after I have it centered, in this particular one, this was the buggy wheels. I needed it a specific way. Funky flowers, I just put them on there any which way. It didn't make any difference. There was no lining up of anything. But on buggy wheels, because of the design element, I had to make sure that all the applique pieces were in the right position. So I picked one diagonal, and there was one seam that would line up, and that way it wouldn't just be off a little bit and look strange. So anyway, I just want you to be aware of that. If you need to, line something up and use your diagonal. Then you're going to press it in position with a hot iron, and you're just going to follow your manufacturer instructions. So roughly 10 seconds or so in each position. I just count to 10. No big deal. And after you have that completely in position, I go back and I just hit the back of it for a second just to make sure. And then I set them aside. When you get all your blocks done, then you're going to applique them at the sewing machine. And sometimes you might need a stabilizer if you use a satin stitch or use a really tight stitch or you have a really thin fabric. This has a washout stabilizer on it, and I did test one block to see if I liked it, and I don't really need it on this particular applique piece, but if you do, make sure you use a stabilizer. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to test your applique stitch length and width for your favorite applique stitch. This happens to be my favorite, which is a blanket stitch. I use it a lot. I also do it by hand, so I guess that's why I like it by machine, because it duplicates what I do by hand. This happens to be on my old, not my old machine, but my smaller machine. I have no stitch length I can change. I cannot change that. I can only change the width. So I test a couple of different stitch widths to see what I like the best, and then that's what I set it up. And on the buggy wheels, that's the machine I only had that machine available. For this one today, I went ahead and I pulled my big machine, which is on my frame system, and it allows me to have a variety of stitches. This is default, which you can see is small all the way down, and I can make it even bigger, but this is what I decided to choose for this project. So what you're going to do, and this happens to be on the Funky Flowers, just if you're curious, it's a 4.0 and a 4.0 stitch length. Stitch length and width is both 4.0. Then you're going to take and you're going to put your F foot on your sewing machine, or an open toe foot, whatever works, whatever you have available. And when you do the blanket stitch, you will have the right stitch of your bite will be on the right side. It's supposed to be on the background. And what I found to keep that lined up and from getting it just needs to be in the right position. I don't know if you can see that little V right there in the front of the foot. I tried to keep the edge of the applique piece on the right side of that V, on the very right side, not over where the opening is, but just that right side. And that seemed to help me keep it into position. Because this is this bigger stitch, it just goes quicker. It goes around quicker, and it's hard to manipulate. So keep that in mind. Just go slow, take your time. And I also decided to start this on the yellow because it's a white thread, and that way it wouldn't, I did anchor it so that it would hold in position, and I then stitched completely around each piece. When you're done with that, and I'll take you to the sewing machine to show you exactly where the needle position is on that. You have the backing in here with the background, plus you have the fusible, and you can leave them this way. When I did the buggy wheels, I just left them in there. I didn't even bother with taking them out. On this one, I decided I want to go ahead and take the background and the fusible out, so I'm going to slit these just carefully through the background and the backing, being very careful not to cut into my block in any way. Then you're going to take your scissors and you're just going to cut completely around, leaving a 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch beyond the stitches. And when you're done with that, then you just take this completely away, and this becomes more for the dog beds. This is also, I did open up the seams so that when I stitched over them with the blanket stitch, it wouldn't catch on them. I did find that the F foot seemed to help tremendously. So if the F foot works for you, I highly recommend that if you have one. This is what the buggy wheels looks like, and as you can see, there is a design element to it. All the wheels turn, so I had to make sure I got that in the right position. And this is also another tip for you. This is a wool pin that I picked up at 10,000 Villages, and it makes a great pin cushion. And all you do is you just attach it. I pinned it onto my lanyard that I wear when I sew. And that way my pins are always with me, whether I'm at the ironing board, the cutting table, my sewing machine, they're always available. Now, hopefully this will make sense to you. If you can see, the needle is on the right side of the piece. This also helps to keep this in position and just keep it folded down. I'm going to take just a few stitches. Hopefully this will work, that I can, you will see that it's I also have another demo of this with the buggy wheels, so that might be easier to understand. Anyway, and hopefully this will help you, and I hope that you have a good time with machine applique. As I said, there's many other methods to do it, also by hand. This just works for me. Have a great day. God bless you. Bye.